The average price of a single-family home here in San Diego just recently hit $1 million. So for people looking to buy a home for the first time, it can essentially just seem impossible. Jim Bottrell of the Jim Bottrell Real Estate Team joins us now with some tips on buying a home here in San Diego. Good to see you, Jim. Thanks for coming by.
Oh, thanks for having me.
I mean, this is nuts, right? I mean, somebody out there, they want to buy a home. It's the dream. I looked up the average salary here in San Diego is about $70,000, $33 an hour. How does somebody get into a home for the first time? They're so expensive.
Well, there's a lot of programs out there for the first-time home buyers. I'll start out with, like, for example, if you're a veteran. Veterans, VA loans, those are great. Those are no money down. You can do no closing costs on them. There's a lot of myths out there about the VA loans. Like, for example, when I bought my very first house, even though I was a lieutenant who carried a 100-pound pack and a rifle, I didn't use a VA loan when I bought my first house because I didn't know about it. So I make it my point to make sure everybody knows about it, so I wanted to lead with that. You don't have to be retired. You can be active duty, or you can be retired, or you didn't have to retire. You just did your 4 years and you got out, and you can use it over and over and over. There's FHA programs out there, it's just 3.5% down. And there's also first-time home buyer assistance programs, and that's something you definitely want to look at, talk to a lender about. There are programs out there where you get your interest rates a little bit better, or there are grants for closing costs, so you don't even have to have any money on that. So there's a lot of assistance out there for that first-time home buyer. So what I say is don't look at social media. All right, don't do any of that stuff. Just go talk to a lender. Just go talk to a lender and find out what you can do. And buying something is better than renting, always.
I looked at the interest rates before I came over here. They're almost 8% for a 30-year. I mean, you can get those kind of 1-5 arms and things like that, or interest only. What do you think about situations like that to try to get into a home? How do you shop the loan? How do you figure out what to do with that, with respect to that?
Well, what most of our buyers are doing right now is we're doing a buy down. So we're getting the seller to actually fund, we'll call it a 3-2-1 buy down. So let's say the interest rate's 8%. So your first year, the seller has bought your interest rate down to 5. That's 3, 2, and then you go to 6, then you go to 7, then you go to 8 after that. At some point in time, will interest rates come down? Yeah, probably. There's no real reason for them to. I mean, the reason we had the interest rates in the 2 or the 3s is I make the joke and I say the stars aligned, Venus was in retrograde, it was a blue moon on a Tuesday. Right? That was a one time in the world that was ever going to happen. It's never going to happen again. Can we get back into something in the mid 6s, high 6s? Maybe. But there's no reason. Historically, we're kind of right where we are. So the programs are out there. There are ways to do things. You can do the 5-1, but that becomes an adjustable after some period of time. Interest onlys, those are fine too. I'm not a big fan of paying equity. I'm not a fan of buying equity. Equity is the best equity is when the house appreciates, because that's equity that happens while you sleep. Don't buy it. Equity is a non-performing asset. So I like the IO loans if you can get one.
I mean, here's kind of a general question, might be hard to answer, but the difference between a condo and a home, right? I mean, with a condo, you've got the homeowner's fees, and if they decide to, you know, give you a special assessment, you got to pay that. Whereas the home, you've got to do your own work, and if you need a new roof and a plumber and things like that,
it's on you.
Is there kind of a better, and plus a condo you can generally get for cheaper than a home. Is there a better way to go if you're a first-time home buyer?
First-time home buyer, probably going to do a condo. Probably going to do something small, and that's fine. You just got to get in the game. But the reason, yes, the condos do have a higher HOA, so maybe it might be $350, $450, something like that. But you have to understand that covers a lot of things. That covers your fire insurance policy. That covers the flood insurance policy. That covers the exterior maintenance, the roof, all those other things. Do you get special assessments? I mean, I've owned condos as rental properties for 20-some odd years, and I think I got an assessment on one of them once. So they're just really not that common. Single-family residences, it's all on you. And there's people out there that don't like homeowners associations. They say, I don't want a homeowners association. That's fine. We have those buyers, and if that's what you don't want a homeowner association. But I will tell you that every single property that I own and every single property I've ever owned has been in an HOA, and I do that on purpose because it is a protection against the value of your home. It prevents that neighbor from painting their house purple and pink and parking 16 cars on the dirt where the grass is supposed to be and having 10 trash cans overflowing with recycled, going to be recycled silver bullet cans. True story, right?
No pink flamingos in the lawn.
And that too, all right? So that, I mean, think about what that does to the property value. If that's what your neighbors, nobody's going to move next to that. That just cost you $150,000.
Real quick, are there some things not to do, some kind of pitfalls, some mistakes that you see people making?
Yeah, so if you're thinking about buying a house, the first thing you don't want to do is incur any new debt. Don't go buy a new car. Don't go buy new furniture. Even if they say, you're going to go to Jerome's and they say no payments till 4th of July, it's still on your credit. It still counts against you, so don't do that. If you're in the market to buy a house, you lock down. Avoid co-signing for others. Don't go co-sign for someone else's loan, even though they're making the payments. That still works against you.
Okay.
A big thing that people do, debt consolidation loans, or they see it on TV. Don't do that. That's awful, because what ends up happening is they're going to default you on some of those debts, or they're going to create new stuff. So it's new credit lines that don't have a history. If you default on a debt, that's it. You're done. You're over. A big piece of advice, no late payments on anything. And here is a trick that I learned maybe myself 14 years ago. Every credit card I have, and people always have multiple credit cards, right? And there's ones you don't use. You set up at your bank an auto pay of $25. The fire's on the 12th of every single month, no matter what. Because that way the bank got a payment, and you will never, ever have a late. It may not be paid off, but you paid them something and you don't get the late. That is an easy way to make sure that you never have that happen.
Jim Bottrell, good to see you, Jim.
All right,
Thanks for coming by. All right, Teresa.